It's a good question. People always ask me, what are they after? I think that there is a real asymmetry here. People who want to build families, build things, they can answer that question clearly. But they're also vandals in the world, people who just want to create chaos and tear things down. And I think that there are people who have given sophisticated answers to this question and studied the ideological roots. But for my own purposes, I tend to think that for most of us, unless that's a particular interest of yours, I think for most of us, it is not, I don't want to say a waste of time, but not a good use of our energies to sit and try to unpack all of their views, because they're always changing, and what they're after, because that's always changing too. But it's a profoundly destructive impulse. We could sit around trying to figure out why someone would possibly spray paint the front of a store, a beautiful new store that's owned by a shop that's owned by a couple. Why would you do that? And we can spend a whole lot of time worrying about why you would ever do something that cruel. Or we can just guard against it and push back on it and make sure that stops happening and doesn't happen to our stores and our families. And I prefer to focus on that, but it's...
I 100% agree. I call it reasoning with the crazy man. If they're nuts or they're nihilists, then there's no point in reasoning with them. You just have to control it.
It is. Remember that the gender ideologues always had a lousy hand to begin with. It made no sense. Their hand made no sense. Yeah. A boy trapped in a girl's body makes no sense. Yeah. There is no empirical proof of it. And all it is some sort of metaphor, except that it has to be taken deadly seriously. And of course, the protocols aren't metaphoric. They're real surgeries and hormones. So, they'd never had a good hand, but what they had was coercion. When good people fell silent and felt some shame in opposing them, they felt embarrassed for various reasons. They felt like anything cloaked in civil rights they couldn't impose if they wanted to be good people. Into that open field marched an army, and they advanced. And unfortunately, they pushed this really half-baked ideology all the way through our institutions. It's in courts, it's in schools, it's in universities, it's in medical accrediting organizations. So we certainly have our work cut out for us in bringing truth to light and really clearing out the lies.